In 1969, the James Bond franchise ends the decade with its 6th iteration in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, showcasing a new film style for the Bond franchise and the newest actor, George Lazenby, as the titular character. This tragic love story showcases a different side of 007 while delivering on the usual action and adventure. And despite a modest box office run, it doesn't connect with audiences as it hoped. And unfortunately, the actor George Lazenby decides not to return despite being offered a multi-picture film deal as 007. Feeling pressure from United Artists, the Bond producers Saltzman and Broccoli are forced to turn to the original 007 actor Sean Connery to make the film a success. Connery declines at first but reconsiders after being promised a 2-picture film deal with United Artists and a hefty sum of well over $1 million as a paycheck for starring in the movie, of which he generously donates the entirety to his organization, the Scottish International Education Trust Fund. And with Sean Connery secured, Eon Productions could move forward with the next entry of the James Bond series, Diamonds Are Forever. The story centers around Bond's continued pursuit of Blofeld as he uncovers a diamond smuggling ring and a deadly plot to launch a satellite to attack the world powers to establish nuclear dominance. Bond is aided by the beautiful smuggler Tiffany Case while trying to evade gangsters and a couple called Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, who are a very interesting pair of assassins.
They're both aboard. I must say, Miss Case seems quite attractive. For a lady.
Despite following On Her Majesty's Secret Service, this film makes no mention of Bond's marriage to Tracy or her death, and the plot gets even weirder when you find out that Blofeld had gone under the knife and now he has doubles. And funny enough, he's actually played by Charles Gray in this entry, who had appeared as one of 007's partners and informants in You Only Live Twice, as a matter of fact. While the last film focused on Bond's humanity and a lot more brawler action to a certain degree, this film opts for a more tongue-in-cheek nature, going for more hijinks and kind of adventure escapism, and a more comedic touch in a lighthearted tone rather than those in-depth moments that we had been subjected to in the last film.
Lean over.
And again, in pursuit of the successful Bond formula, this one did end up relying more on the older films pre-Her Majesty's Secret Service, more akin to the likes of Goldfinger and whatnot. Funny enough, the earliest drafts of this had actually had Bond going against Auric Goldfinger's evil twin in a diamond plot. And in keeping with true Bond tradition, they even brought back Shirley Bassey to sing this theme song for the film. Personally, I think that Diamonds is a very solid Bond film. I mean, it plays it safe, definitely, though. I mean, they get Sean Connery back, they had a pretty formulaic aspect to this Bond film. It is fun nonetheless, but it has very little replay value for me. And the interesting thing that I find is that they don't mention any aspect of the last film. But you know where it does work? Interestingly enough, I feel if you place Diamonds Are Forever right before you watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service, it actually works very well because it picks up at the beginning where he's trying to find Blofeld and whatnot, and the fact that you see this plastic surgery plot with Blofeld actually makes somewhat of a little bit of a sense going into the next film, because then at that point you realize why he looks slightly different and why James Bond doesn't really recognize him. Upon its release, Diamonds became another box office smash, and its tone would definitely inform the entries to follow, as it focused on a more comedic and lighthearted aspect of the films, and it would focus more on the escapist, larger-than-life adventures to ensue. And now that the James Bond franchise was back on track and Sean Connery was absolutely, completely, unequivocally done with the James Bond films, at least as Eon Productions had been concerned, it was time for a new man to step into the role of James Bond, and the producer team of Saltzman and Broccoli would turn to a saint to fill those shoes for Bond's next entry,